you have 4 grams of glucose throughout your entire bloodstream at any given time. That's just a level teaspoon glucose. 1 more gram, 5 grams, that's a toxic dose of glucose in your body. Your body reacts to it as a toxin by trying to detoxify it, by raising your insulin, trying to get that below 4 grams. And if it maintains above 4 grams and you have diabetes, that's when people start dying and getting multi-organ failure and getting their limbs hacked off and kidneys failing and dying. It's because of that 1 extra gram of glucose. We're throwing in hundreds of extra grams of glucose and fructose and galactose and all these sorts of things. That's harming you. And your body can compensate for that for a while, but not forever. Question from Lena. Thank you very much for the super chat. Is fat or protein more important? I have trouble sleeping on carnivore. Any tips? Also, are fruit and honey still bad even though it's different sugar? Well, the problem is it's not different sugar. It's exactly the same kind of sugar. It's fructose and sucrose, and actually honey has quite a lot of fructose. And so that's the point. The idea is that it is the same sugar. It's just that it comes with other things that are beneficial, but that's the same thing as saying that spinach has these different vitamins and minerals, and there are good things, and so that offsets the bad things that are in there. It doesn't. It's not good enough to make up for the stuff that's harmful in it, in my opinion. So yeah, I don't have anything to do with fruit and honey. I have a video just called Fruit and Honey Are Not Carnivore, and I sort of go through all that. Fruit, the plant wants something to eat the fruit, but it doesn't necessarily want you to eat the fruit. It wants an animal that it's co-evolved with to eat the fruit and pass its seeds around. But a lot of these fruits and berries co-evolve with birds, and most fruit and berry on Earth will kill you. And if you're out in the woods and you see these little bulbs and berries and things like that you don't recognize, bad idea to eat them, because they will likely kill you. And that was a traditional sort of thing. When you're out in the woods, you never eat red berries. You just don't eat random red berries that you don't see, because that's a warning. This is a red, like, don't eat me, I'll kill you, sort of thing, or to attract birds and things like that. So anyway, it's not a good idea to eat random fruit or berries. And even though the plant wants something to eat it, it doesn't want you to eat it. So still, the majority of fruit will kill you. The cassowary bird eats about 150 different types of fruit in the tropics. And these are tropical fruits, so tropical fruits are all great. No, they're not. Every single one of those fruits will kill you. Every single one of those fruits will kill anything except the cassowary bird. Because if those seeds don't go through the gut of a cassowary bird, they don't turn into a plant, they don't germinate. And so if a cassowary bird leaves that area, those plants die out. So it has to be very attractive to a cassowary bird and very detrimental to anything else trying to eat it. And so, it is not the case that even the fruit that we eat, even the sweet fruit, don't have any toxins. They do. And they have a lot more toxins when they're not ripe, because the seeds aren't ready yet. The problem is we don't pick these things ripe. If you picked them ripe in your own yard, you had an avocado tree or something like that, it's going to be better than what it would be if you buy it from the store. But if you buy it from the store, they pick these things green. And the plant has to take out the toxins. We've seen this in studies with tomatoes, that you pick them green, they don't actually detoxify. It's not like they just break down in the fruit into harmless byproducts, right? They retain all of those. It's the vine ripened ones that have less toxins in them, because the plant is pulling out those toxins. But if you pick it early, when the seeds aren't ready, that still has all of its defenses intact. Good luck buying a fruit from the store that has not been picked green, right? Because that's just how they travel. I mean, some of these apples, you eat an apple today, it's an apple that was picked a year ago and it was picked green, So but it is the same kind of sugar. It's fructose and glucose, and that's not what you want. You have 4 grams of glucose throughout your entire bloodstream at any given time. That's just a level teaspoon glucose. 1 more gram, up to 5 grams, that's a toxic dose of glucose in your body. And your body reacts to it as a toxin by trying to detoxify it, by raising your insulin, trying to get that below 4 grams. And if it maintains above 4 grams, and you have diabetes, basically, not basically, literally, then that's when people start dying and getting multi-organ failure and getting their limbs hacked off and kidneys failing and dying, right? It's because of that 1 extra gram of glucose. So we're throwing in hundreds of extra grams of glucose and fructose and galactose and all these sorts of things. That's harming you, and your body can compensate for that for a while, but not forever. And so that's not something that you want to do, and certainly not something that I want to do. What's more important, fat or protein? Both. They're both important. You need enough fat. You need enough protein. So it's not that you want one or the other. They are both essential nutrients. They're essential amino acids that you have to have. And even the so-called non-essential amino acids, you do better with more of them, like taurine and carnitine. And the fats are essential fats. There are essential fatty acids that you have to have, or you get sick and you die, or you don't develop properly, your brain doesn't work properly, your body doesn't work properly. And there are essential fat-soluble nutrients that come along with the fat that you have to have, or you get sick and you may die, and you have all these sorts of other problems that you could get in development and beyond. So it's not just one or the other. They're not just calorie sources. That's something that we just need to throw out, because a lot of these things are being used as structural materials, are being used as precursor to other chemicals, hormones, and proteins that we make in our body. Everything that our DNA codes for is a protein, right? And so that's a stack and chain of amino acids in a line, and then they fold and flip around, and then you have a folded up protein molecule that goes around and does work in the cell and in the body. That's not being used as a fuel source. That's a building block and material. So it doesn't matter how much energy is released when you burn it, because it's not being burned in the first place, because we're not combustion engines, we're chemical factories, and we break bonds to create chemical energy and make ATP, and then break those bonds to facilitate other chemical interactions. So that's just completely, I mean, that's like saying, like, how much does left weigh? Like, you're using the wrong units. That makes no sense in this context.
Hey guys, just want to take a second to thank our sponsor, Carnivore Bar. I don't promote many products because honestly, all you need to be healthy is to just eat meat. For those times that you're out hiking, road tripping, or stuck at work and you want a nutritious snack that is just meat, fat, and salt if you want it, the Carnivore Bar is a great option. So I like this product not because it's just pure meat, but also because I want the carnivore market to thrive as well. And the more we support meat-only products, the more meat-only products there will be available in the mainstream. So if this sounds like something you'd like to get behind, check it out using my discount code Anthony to get 10% off, which also applies to subscriptions, giving you 25% off total. All right, thanks guys.
Right, and so, and what temperature is sideways? Like, no, that's just like, what's wrong with you? This is completely unrelated. And so you don't look at it like that. You need fat, animal fat. You need protein, animal protein, because there are things like carnitine that don't exist in plants, and that actually only 70% of people make enough of it. And so 30% of people do need carnitine from their diet. It is an essential amino acid for 30% of people, third of the population, right? And everyone does better with more of it. So you just need enough. You eat about 1 gram of fat to 1 gram of protein, up to 2 grams of fat to 1 gram of protein, or thereabouts, and you just see what your body needs. Again, your body only has a limited capacity to absorb fat. You just eat as much fat as you're able to, and you check your stools, and if you're getting constipation, you're not eating enough. If you're getting diarrhea, you may be eating too much, unless you're confounding it by still eating other things. I mean, whenever I say any of these things, I am talking about in the context of someone only eating meat and only drinking water. Nothing else goes in your mouth that you swallow, that is outside of those two things, right? So you're taking a sports drink, or you're taking a pre-workout, or you're taking supplements that have sweeteners, or you're taking electrolytes that have sweeteners, you're out. That's not, you don't qualify for what I'm talking about. I'm talking about only meat, only water, right? If you're doing that and you're getting diarrhea, it could be that you're eating more fat than your body can absorb. It's likely it is. or you're so constipated that you're getting overflow diarrhea and you're getting watery stools, and then every now and then you get this boulder that comes out, and then you're back to the watery stools, and that means you need a lot more fat. But if you are drinking coffee, tea, non-sugar sweeteners, magnesium supplements, metformin, other medications, those can all cause, they can all have a laxative effect. And so it may just cover that up. And so you may have loose stools, but you may be taking metformin and magnesium and drinking coffee. Like, well, you probably will have loose stools on a carnivore diet because you don't have a whole bunch of fiber jamming up the works. So if you're only eating meat, only drinking water, which I recommend to everybody, then you keep eating fatty meat until it stops tasting good. Make sure your stools are soft, and then you just eat to your body's demand. It will change. But the thing is that you don't need to figure that out. Your body will figure that out for you. If you're only eating what you're supposed to eat, your body will be able to tell you, and you'll be able to listen to it. And so you eat until it stops tasting good. That's very key. And because you'll feel like, oh, I feel satisfied. I feel like I could stop. That's not when you stop on a carnivore diet. That's when you stop on a traditional diet, when you can't trust your hormones, when you can't trust your signals, when you're just like, oh, I should stop. Because if I keep going, I'm going to get fat. You don't do that in the carnivore diet. You keep eating until fatty meat stops tasting good, because if it still tastes good, your body's telling you that it still wants those nutrients. And then eventually, but it tastes less good and less good and less good until eventually it doesn't taste good at all. And that's when you stop. You take a bite and say, didn't really enjoy that. Stop. You just naturally stop. That's how animals in the wild naturally stop. At least that's what I've sort of come to realize. Sugar is an outlier. You can have these evolutionary traps, they're called, where you have something like a hummingbird that sees something, a little red, little shaped object, and they'll go in, ooh, that's a flower, I'm going to go get nectar. And in the Midwest, they had these little electric wire ties that sort of were nearly that sort of shape and color. And so the little hummingbirds would go in, stick their little beak in to try to get the nectar, and they'd hit the live wire and they'd die, right? And so they had to change the color of these things because they were just every time when they were red, there's and they were just dropping like flies, unfortunately. So that's an evolutionary trap. There's signals in them saying, hey, go get this. So food scientists have taken advantage of those evolutionary traps in humans to make things highly palatable and to say, oh, we should get this. We should eat this. Eat more, eat more, eat more, eat more, eat more, eat more, eat more. Sugar is an evolutionary trap. We did not find this in great abundance historically, but we it seems that fructose is the sweetest of the carbohydrates, because there aren't any plants that are acutely poisonous to humans, that are deadly to humans that day, that contain fructose. But fructose itself, with long-term exposure at high levels, will cause harm. And so, it tastes good. We go, oh, that's safe. I can get energy and I can survive. We get that signal, but we're getting little crab apples, maybe a bit of honey every now and then. And we're like, oh, that's amazing. Okay, we should get this. But now we've refined it. We put it in everything. And so we hit that evolutionary trap. And so it just tastes good. Oh, I want more, I want more, I want more, I want more. Because we're never going to find it in that abundance in the wild. You're just not going to. And certainly not every day. So that's hitting an evolutionary trap. Meat is not an evolutionary trap. It does not make you want to do more and more and more until you hurt yourself. That's actual normal biology. And so you eat until it stops tasting good. That's how you figure that out. So that's what you do. You aim for about 1 to 2 grams of fat for every 1 gram of protein. You eat that fatty meat until it stops tasting good. And 2 to 1 fat to protein is about 65% lean ground beef with 35% fat. That's what that works out to be. So a lot thrown at you, but it actually is fairly straightforward when you sort of break it down.